Tonight was the Middleton moment here from Capital One Arena. The Wizards storm back from 16 down and get the win over the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's hang out. Let's have fun. The Wizards got the dub. Let's get it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yes, sir. Washington Wizards get the dub today. DC family, you are locked on to the Washington Wizards, where you're part of our family. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, the #1 sports podcast network in the nation. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started today. Alongside the DC Sports content creating savant Abdullah Ayubi, I'm Ben Strober, and I cover the Wizards for Roundtable.io. AB 129 to 126. Wizards come from behind. They were down by as much as 16 in the third quarter. A massive win at home. They've now won back-to-back games at home, and they get the sour taste out of their mouth after an ugly 33-point loss to Indiana on Saturday.
Love to see it. You really love to see it. Third win of the season. Vets showed up huge tonight, Ben. Vintage CJ McCollum and vintage Khris Middleton against his former team in the Milwaukee Bucks. Bagley showed up big as well, 22 points, 9 rebounds. And this is a game, Ben, where you don't have your young star and Alex Sarr playing, who's dealing with an injury. That night against Atlanta, you didn't have Keyshawn George, you blew out this team. And now you come up big in the clutch against this Bucks team, where it seemed like, Ben, the whole game we were just trailing by 10 to 15 points. But then the Wizards started lurking, and they came up clutch. Bilal guarding Giannis Antetokounmpo, I loved it. Ended off the game with the and one dunk. We saw flashes of that. Overall, just a great win against a good Bucks team. Another 9-13 now, but don't get me wrong, Giannis Antetokounmpo is a really good NBA player, and he's just so freaking big. I mean, you saw it, Ben. You just tweeted out that he walked right past you, and you were in shock. Cam Whitmore, 17 points tonight, Ben. TV, my guy, 16 points. Bench was eating. Third win of the season. You have to love it.
Yes, sir. We're going to get into the bench production, which I thought was the difference in this game. It's the reason the Wizards had a chance in the fourth quarter was because how great everybody played off the bench today, those aforementioned names that you gave out to us there, AB. But let's start with the hero tonight, a guy that we've given a lot of flack to on this channel because of how he's played down the stretch in some of these games, saying, I don't feel like this is a guy in Khris Middleton that should be taking these shots in these big moments. Tonight, he came up massive. In the fourth quarter, he goes 3 for 3 from the field, 2 for 2 from behind the arc in some massive buckets, a big and one to get the Wizards within one after he missed a free throw. He then tied the game with a three-pointer, and then he gave the Wizards a lead with a massive three-pointer. CJ McCollum pretty much sealed the deal with a big step-back three. Tonight was the first night where really you could say these veteran players in Middleton, McCollum, and then Bagley, who was excellent tonight getting the start with Alex Sarr not playing tonight. He will not play tomorrow as well. Brian Keefe told us that beforehand. 22 points for Bagley. The veterans set the standard tonight for what is expected of this young team, and there were a lot of instances tonight where the young guys didn't quite have it necessarily. And I'm talking about Keyshawn George, 3 for 11 from the field tonight. It wasn't his night. Bilal Coulibaly, it wasn't his night offensively, I'll tell you that. But, man, he had Giannis in hell tonight. We're going to get into that later in the episode as well. But I'm really proud of the way this team came back and didn't give up and quit in this game, because so many times throughout this season, AB, where the wins and losses don't predicate how you should feel necessarily about this Wizards team going forward. But in times they had given up when they had fallen behind. They get behind by 16 at one point in this third quarter. Milwaukee is shooting the cover off the basketball. At one point, I think Milwaukee in the first half was 11 of 17 from three-point land. So it kind of felt very similar to the season opener where the Bucks could not miss from three. They made some adjustments, and those guys off the bench just excellent in keeping the Wizards within this game. We'll talk more about that ad nauseum. But, AB, your first impressions from tonight?
Like you mentioned, the bench played amazing today, Ben. And again, you don't have your star and Alex Sarr playing, so it's a group effort. Justin Champagnie, 10 points. I mean, he is the putback king, Ben. 8 rebounds for a guy at his size, 6'6", 6'5". You really love to see it. And this is a night, like you mentioned, where your young guys aren't there to give you those points, but who's going to step up? CJ McCollum and Khris Middleton. And it's not only Alex Sarr, Ben. I mean, we know you're out with Trey Johnson as well. Corey Kispert, a guy who's been giving you back-to-back 20 points not too long ago. He's not playing, so you have to find a way to keep up with this Bucks team. Kevin Porter Jr., the Wizards really had no answer for him. He had 30 points. He was lining it up from three-point land. I think Bilal, even though Giannis had 26 points, limited him really, really well, was giving him a hard time. That's what we talked about after the Pacers game, Ben. You mentioned that the Wizards need to emphasize on not letting the best player get the ball, deny. And I saw that at times where it took at least 2 or 3 passes to finally get it to Giannis. And again, that defense, you give up 126 tonight, you score 129, and I just think the way you clawed back into this game, because it just felt like in the fourth quarter this Bucks team was first of all, in general, they were gonna come to DC and thought they were gonna have an easy win. No. You don't have Alex Sarr. You still gotta find a way to beat our young guys here. And I just again, you go back to the whole idea of not wanting to start a long losing streak, because that was the fear after you beat Atlanta. Is like, okay, are we gonna match 14? This is what I'm talking about. This is Wizards basketball right here, where you don't have one of your young players playing. You go out there and you beat a Bucks team, and a Bucks team that has one of the best players in the world going out there and trying to beat you. Capital One Arena. Kyle Kuzma returns. A lot of boos, man. A lot of boos. Familiar faces everywhere with the Bucks. Ryan Rollins, Bobby Portis. It was a fun night.
It was a super fun night. It was great to feel some energy in this building. There was a big contingency of college students around us who were probably more focused on their bets, but as the game rolled along and Middleton came up big, McCollum came up big, they're going crazy. There was real energy in the building.
We had Gunna tonight, Ben.
Gunna was in the building. Can you believe it? He's performing at the Anthem tomorrow in D.C., so Gunna, Young Wunna, he makes an appearance here at Capital One Arena. I don't know if that inspired these guys to really pick it up here defensively and get it together in the second half, but who knows? That could have been the difference. I want to give my big shout-out and my big props to the bench tonight. I just wanted to go through the plus-minus and some of the performances for guys off the bench, because early on in the game, I tweeted out, I said, Tristan Vukcevic, I think these are the best minutes we've seen him play this season. He finishes tonight with 16 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals as well. He was active on the defensive side of the basketball. 4 of 7 from the field, 1 for 3 from beyond the arc, and he got to the line for 8 attempts. He made 7 of those. Big night for Tristan Vukcevic, who got those backup center minutes with Alex Sarr out tonight. Cam Whitmore, phenomenal off the bench once again. Got 19 minutes. Think he should still get more. 17 for him off the bench, 5 rebounds and assists. He shot 8 of 14 from the field, and he was pivotal in the Wizards making a run in the third quarter of this game. Those guys brought the energy. Justin Champagnie brought the energy as well. He was a +3 with 10 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. He was 5 of 8 from the field. Those guys kept the Wizards in this game today and allowed for Middleton and McCollum and Bagley supposed to do for your team. They're supposed to keep the spark if you need it. Tonight was absolutely the case, and there have been times where you had seen a lackluster bench performance or maybe just the minutes being consistent. Tonight was a little bit different. You saw those early minutes from Vukcevic and from Cam Whitmore, Justin Champagnie. Then you didn't see him until around the 4-minute mark to go in the third quarter. But once those guys came in the game, this game turned on its head, gave the Wizards the opportunity, and they came up big time.
I mean, how many dunk highlight reels did Cam Whitmore have today, Ben? That one where Justin Champagnie lobbed it up to him, that was so much fire. That's fire that I haven't seen much of this season so far. Cam Whitmore, like you mentioned, 19 minutes. I still don't think it's enough, especially with Corey Kispert, Trey Johnson, and a lot of these young guys out. Cam Whitmore is a guy that needs to be playing at least 20 to 25 minutes a game. He is so freaking explosive, and the ability of him being a microwave scorer, you see it time and time and again of every game. Now, the idea of him being a starter, that's still questionable, but I think you and I agree, Ben, like you said, 19 minutes is just not enough for a guy who's just so athletic and so explosive and so young.
100% agree with you. It just seems like when Whitmore's given his opportunities, he produces. And we can say the same offensively for Vukcevic, and I got to give him the most credit tonight because he was bought in on the defensive side of the basketball. He was active in the passing lanes. That one play where he tipped the pass that led to Champagnie getting out in transition, throwing it up to Whitmore. We saw that happen 2 separate times in this game. That will get the crowd into it. That gets your team into it. Good defense leads to good offense on the other end. The Wizards want to push in transition. That's evident. They've been very high in the pace category in the NBA this season. And Keith said today, we can't play with pace unless we get stops. And at times it was tough for this Wizards team to get stops. I took a couple videos that you can find on my Twitter at Strober Sports where too many wide open three-point attempts and the Wizards were allowing Milwaukee to get hot from behind the arc. They tightened it up in that fourth quarter, so got to give a lot of credit to Washington from that realm. But the Wizards took better care of the basketball today, only 10 turnovers, and as well on the other side, 16 turnovers Milwaukee had. So the Wizards were able to capitalize off that and really make some noise from that realm. When you play with pace because you're getting stops like they did in the fourth quarter, you can find success, and that's what the Wizards have to do with this young and athletic team.
TV, that's my guy. I was waiting for this type of game, and a game where you don't have Alex Sarr, where him and Marvin Bagley are going to have to be carrying the load when it comes to the big men. They stepped up huge against a Bucks team that has Miles Turner, a really good rim defender, and it doesn't. I want to go, and hopefully we'll talk about it, Ben, but Bilal Coulibaly, that jump shot, I mean, at what point are we going to start being concerned as Wizards fans? We love the way it ended right there. Defensively, we love it. But when this team starts competing, Ben, that lack of being able to shoot it from the outside or just in the mid-range game is probably going to be a reason why he's not going to be playing that much when this team starts competing. I love the defensive capability, but you see the concern that I'm going with when it comes to his inefficiency offensively?
I do. It's definitely been something that we'll monitor, but when we come back, let's take our first break. I want to talk about Bilal because Giannis wasn't exactly his best night offensively. Bilal was the reason why. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, and more, and it keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. It's always going to be a tough assignment, AB, when you have the third best player in the world in Giannis Antetokounmpo playing at Capital One Arena, wherever you're playing him. And I experienced it firsthand. I was walking through and I looked up. I said, oh my God, how is this dude this big, this physical? Like, no wonder nobody can stop this guy. And early on, he was getting his. He had the first, I believe, 9 of 16 points for Milwaukee early on in the game. Bilal made adjustments, and he was great in this one. Giannis finishes a -2 in this game, 10 of 17 from the field, but he turned it over 5 times. A big reason why Bilal Coulibaly was getting him frustrated tonight. 3 steals for Bilal. They only credited him with 1 block, but I counted 2 or 3, I think, by my count, and Bilal notched his 100th career block in the first quarter of this game. This is that Bilal Catraz thing we talk about. If you're Bilal Coulibaly, your job is you're supposed to be able to shut down a team's number 1 defender out there. And at times we've said, I don't know, maybe we're not seeing that exactly. We didn't quite see that against Pascal Siakam in the Indiana Pacers the other night in a 33-point loss. But against the number 3 player in the world, man, you got to give a big shout-out to Bilal. He showed up big time. It wasn't his night offensively, starting 0 for 5 from the field. He finished 3 for 9, but a big exclamation point on the steal and score to finish this thing. Giannis fouled him in frustration. Frustration was the theme for Giannis tonight. They made his life difficult, and that's the way you have to do it against one of the best players in the world.
It was funny because him and Bilal were going back and forth. Giannis had a nice chase down block on Bilal, and it just seemed like a defensive battle. Foreign guys just going at it, French versus Greek, and I love it. This is the Bilal that we want to see defensively, a guy who can, like you mentioned, go up to the team's best player and say, I'm going to give you 48 minutes of hell tonight. And that's what you saw. And we're hoping that he can build on it. Now, offensively, that's still a work in progress. It is year 3, so maybe we want to see a little more compared to if it was his rookie year. But again, you limit a guy in Giannis Antetokounmpo who I thought was going to go off tonight. That first game, the season opener, he was doing whatever he wanted. Just the whole Bucks team in general was lighting it up from three-point land. But this Wizards team had adjustments. The bench was eating tonight, and I think, again, I'll keep mentioning it, man. You're injured, but no Corey Kispert, no Alex Starr, no Trey Johnson. It's a different ballgame when those guys are in the game. They make an impact. So next man up mentality. The Wizards delivered, and Bilal playing like that defensively, it gives you a lot of encouragement going on through the rest of the season.
It's so interesting because you remember how much ad nauseum we talked about Drew Gooden on the Monumental Sports broadcast the other day, saying how they needed to take away the pass from Pascal Siakam. They weren't doing a good enough job. I talked to him today in the media room a little bit. I just wanted to get his perspective on the whole thing. And he said when he played here in Washington, they had those Randy Whitman-led teams. You have a super long and lanky Trevor Ariza at 6'9". You have Marcin Gortat anchoring things down, Nene as well. He says what the Wizards need to focus on is denying the ball, because at times if you deny, your big concern is we're going to get beat backdoor. Maybe it's the way Washington got beat backdoor against Brooklyn. But what are you supposed to have if you get beat backdoor? You're supposed to have your help side defense there to come up for you. You have one of the better rim defenders right now amongst young players in the NBA in Alex Sarr. That wasn't the case tonight. They didn't have Alex Sarr out there. So shout out to Bagley, shout out to Vucevic, because they filled in that role extremely well tonight and got it done. So just like a little food for thought right there with the way this Wizards team can play defensively. You can afford to be aggressive if you have those anchors guarding the middle. And it's going to get better as time goes on because, the Wizards need another option to play in the front court alongside Alex Sarr. We know that. That's a fact for this Wizards team. Whether they get that in the draft, like a guy, Cam Boozer, Caleb Wilson, whoever that is at some point, there's a lot of potential you can actually have for what they want to do defensively off the wing with Bilal and Keyshawn George as well, because I think at times they've had to overcompensate a little bit. They can't play as aggressive as they want to because they're too worried about getting beat backdoor and not having that help side there. So great perspective there from Drew Gooden, who kind of laid it all out for me right there. I really appreciated that from him.
And also tonight we saw a 10-second violation by Giannis Antetokounmpo. It was so funny hearing the crowd count to the number of 10. I love the crowd tonight. It was obviously a winning effort, and obviously not the best welcoming to Kyle Kuzma, even though he's played here ever since he got traded. This is the type of energy that we want to see every night. Even though there's going to be a lot of losses coming up more in the season, you want to bring back this Capital One energy, this Wizards fan base, the days that we had John and Bradley Beal, and just the how electric the arena was. And now I think you're playing Philly tomorrow without Alex Sarr and probably Corey Kispert and Trey Johnson again. So how do you perform after a game like this, Ben? Do you lay an egg like you did against Indiana, where you come off a great win against the Atlanta Hawks, win your first NBA Cup game, but you get blown out by 30? You're going to Philly's place. You're going to have to find a way to limit Tyrese Maxey. You saw what Tyrese Maxey did when we were here in Capital One. I mean, he went off. I want to see how this team performs. And Bilal Coulibaly, I think they're best. I don't. Maybe you put him on Tyrese Maxey or whoever you do. You just want to make sure that you go out there and play like how you did tonight, essentially.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And I feel like in this situation tonight, I was not going to be mad with the result. If the Wizards ended up losing this game, I was excited the way they kept it competitive. They didn't give up. There was a lot of fight through that second half of the game, especially when they fell behind by 16. I was excited to see the production off the bench that we got with everyone contributing across the board. I wouldn't have been frustrated by a loss. We know that the wins and losses don't predicate how successful this season will be for Washington. We've already seen some of the comments saying, all right, let's chill out a little bit. We got 3 wins. Let's lose the next 10. I don't know if you need to lose 10 games in a row. I think I've always been a proponent. If you get 1 win out of every 6 to 8 games or something like that. You see, I didn't say 6-7 there because I didn't want to say it, but I ended up saying it there anyway, so I hate myself. But anyways.
Say what you want. We won today, man. This was the first game that we won. We were in attendance as well.
Yeah, finally. Yes, I was talking to Craig Hoffman, actually, before the game. I was just talking to him on the sideline. He now works with Monumental, formerly a coworker of mine with Odyssey in D.C., and he was like, oh, it's good to see you out here, every time. I was like, yeah, the only one I really missed was the one that we won at home. He said, oh, well, if we don't win tonight, then I don't think you can come back. And I said, I guess you're right. But we got the win. I'm here. So let's do it. We'll continue to ride along with it. It's fun being in the building when the team actually performs to the level that you expect. press conference today, said, we see a lot of flashes of what this team can be and how they can compete. We're just not seeing it with enough consistency. We're not seeing the energy the same way we could every night. And I said this, I think it was after, what was that, the third or fourth game of the season where we blew a lead to Philadelphia, or was it the Charlotte game maybe? One of those games where they blew it in the second half. I was saying it feels like you're going to see ebbs and flows throughout the entirety of this Wizards season because you have such a young group of players. So it's going to be like up to who shows up on what night if you're going to have that effort. All right, I know everybody's desperate for us to get to let it all out. So we're going to do that when we come back. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. The holiday season is one of the best times for sports, bowl games, big basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And, well, we're all making choices every day. One of the most fun places to make the right call is PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the easiest way to get on daily fantasy. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, lock in your lineup, and you're in the game. It's simple, fast, and available in 45 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. PrizePicks has added an extra layer of excitement to the holiday sports schedule. Creating a lineup takes less than a minute, and the app makes the whole process smooth and intuitive. The early payout feature is a great bonus. When your lineup starts strong, you may get the option to cash out early. Deposits and withdrawals are quick and easy, which keeps everything flowing. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. AB, it's so much more fun when we get to come on here after a win, and that's why we're going to give you a chance. Let it all out, your favorite segment, Postgame, here on the Locked On Wizards podcast, Win Edition.
Yes, Chuck Best 3780. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing to Locked On Wizards channel. Best game of the season. Yeah, I mean, you find a way to win at home against a Bucks team that has the third best player in the world. How can you not be happy? And the way to end it with a Bilal Coulibaly and one dunk. Love to see it. Bilal strapped Giannis. Yeah, he definitely made it tough for him tonight. Bub honestly had a good game, but he was still green. Seemed like every shot he guarded went in. Yeah, again, the whole Bub Carrington experiment, it is year 2, 20 years old. Got to give it more time. We kind of understand that he might not be that point guard role here. We see him more excelling in the combo guard role. So if that's his role, then so be it. Mr. Bond V2. Finally, the OGs brought it. That's how you set the example to the young ones. Exactly. This is the Khris Middleton, CJ McCollum that the Wizards traded for. Guys who can come in and not only be mentors, but also help you in a game where you don't have your young guys in Trey Johnson and Alex Starr playing. Who's going to step up? Who's going to have those clutch moments? CJ McCollum with the step backs from the wing for 3, Khris Middleton and 1 late in the game. Small things like that add up. Chuck also says Bilal was on his square tonight. Yeah. Mr. Bond V2 also says, Bilal, good job on guarding Giannis. Congrats. That's what we came here to see. Defensively locked all the way in, 100%. Keyshawn has started to let the refs affect his effectiveness. You kind of do see it, especially when he's scared to get into foul trouble, but nights like this will happen. Keyshawn George, I mean, inefficiency, you're a young guy. He's going to learn. I still don't have any doubts with him. Khris tends to play well with his former team. Yeah, I was saying the same. I mean, that first game, he played really well. It seems like we should play the Bucks every game, Ben. WizKid Forever says, good win for the Wizards. Can't believe Riley couldn't get a few minutes. Oh, we didn't even talk about Will Riley, Ben. And Whitmore really had a good game tonight. Bilal played great defense. Just wish his handle and shot were much better. Go ahead, Ben. You can talk about Will Riley because he went off in the G League.
Yeah, so signed from the go-go and is recalled. It's all part of a specific plan. It's all part of assignment. It's not necessarily a thing where you're going to see, it's not like he got called back up because he scored 36 points yesterday in the go-go game, and they knew he was going to get minutes in this one. I think they just saw it as an opportunity. They said, hey, the go-go have a home game. The Wizards are off today. They play tomorrow at home. Let's give Riley the opportunity to go down, play with the go-go, and get those on-ball reps, and he was phenomenal. I think you're going to see that happen with Jameer Watkins as well, no matter who it is at some point throughout the season. So I don't think, for all the Wizards fans out there, there's probably going to be knee-jerk reactions depending on what happens with some of these players and if they're assigned, recalled, and how that works throughout the year. And I definitely want to see Will Riley get some more minutes at the NBA level. But I'm glad that there is a plan in place to let him get those developmental reps with the go-go. I think that's a good sign. I think second half of the season, we're going to see a lot of Will Riley. I think he's going to be a player. I really do.
Especially since the lack of a pure point guard here. I mean, Again, why not try him out there? Antisocial extrovert says, when will Riley and AJ Johnson play? CJ and Khris still get too many minutes. I will say tonight they did show up in their minutes, CJ and Khris Middleton. However, with AJ Johnson, he did turn 21 today, as the team announced. Still not getting any playing time to me. It's just questionable because he's not also being signed to the G League. So this is AJ Johnson, a guy who was a first-round pick by the Milwaukee Bucks in 2024. I don't know, Ben. I mean, do you think there's a plan that we'll see him more in the you're fine. In the second half of the season?
I think it'll probably be a feature as well. It's all going to be dependent what happens. Middleton and McCollum probably are buyout candidates if they are not traded, depending on if they take on a bad contract or whatever might happen at the trade deadline. But you get in that point of the season where it's all about youth movement for the remainder of the season. And, hey, so far McCollum in recent weeks, he's played really well. I think he showcased himself plenty enough for teams to probably be interested in him despite his $34 million salary. So we'll see what happens as time goes along here. I think it was tough to see at the beginning that he was getting used to playing within this Wizards team, was struggling a little bit, but he's been good as of late. So I got to give McCollum credit for him, and Middleton as well tonight. Really big, really pivotal moments, especially in that fourth quarter.
No, I do as well. I think it was the turning point was that Celtics game, Ben, where I think McCollum was like 1 for 10, and I was frustrated, and I was calling out saying, this is not the CJ that dropped 50 on us last year, and he has turned the corner. I mean, 46 the other night against Atlanta, showed up clutch today. This is the CJ that Wizards fans were dying to see. Alexander Wright, 6'7", says CJ trade value going up CJ's value is going up. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you can net for him right now, but his value is definitely going up with performances like this. WD Man says Bub needs a Draymond-esque figure in the locker room to get toughened up, or he's on the Johnny Davis path real tough. I don't know about that, because I think that's a little too much of a stretch, because look what you saw last year in Bub Carrington. All rookie, second team, played all 82 games, shattered a lot of rookie records, game winner last regular season game against the Miami Heat. I think it's too early to call him or to say that he's on a Johnny Davis path. Right, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, and I think Bub was honestly decent tonight. He finished as a +2, and although the shooting splits don't jump off the page, 2 for 6, 1 for 4 from behind the arc, but 5 as well on 2 turnovers. I think he was okay. He wasn't great defensively the way, he hasn't been great defensively really for the majority of the regular season. But tonight he was better than he had been in a lot of the nights this season. You want to see him stack together some decent performances off the bench. And overall, I think I was satisfied with the way he played. We got to continue to give him time as we roll forward here.
Mental Edge 2398 says Bilal was out the first game versus the Bucks. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. He was dealing with an injury. Johnny Davis was off. Johnny
Davis compared to Bub Carrington is low-key. I feel like that's crazy. And someone might dig up a stat to say that. But if you watched Johnny Davis play in the Summer League, for God's sake, in his first regular season with the Capital City Go-Go, that dude just did not have it. Like Bub, we saw flashes last year of a guy that actually can contribute at this level. You got to take into account Bub and his mental situation as well. And I know it maybe didn't affect him as much in the time when his father passed away, but you never know how that could be affecting him at this point. He's trying to go through a full NBA season here without the guidance of Bub Sr., and I know he played through it last year at the time, but it's something that you feel like you have to keep in mind and wonder how that's affecting, because the confidence necessarily hadn't been there for the guy in recent weeks. That's been a big thing, and the mental's part of that.
I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't mention an Onion7747 comment, the CEO of the Kent Whitmore fan club, who says, man, Kent Whitmore deserves to start. Didn't see that coming. Yeah, I think Kent Whitmore, a guy who can, like we always mention, can score, microwave scorer. Will he start anytime soon? I just don't think so, because I think he's better suited off the bench. But that doesn't mean I don't want him to play. I want him to get 25 minutes a game. So Kent Whitmore, I mean, he's a walking highlight reel, Ben. There's really nothing much else to describe him.
And I think he's going to start games at some point. Like, there's been attrition within the lineup. We have a crowded room of wings, but Middleton typically doesn't play in a lot of these back-to-backs, so it'll be interesting to see if we even see him tomorrow. Kispert has been out for a little bit of time. Trey Johnson's been out. There are injuries that happen pretty often or where guys miss time. Like, I feel like Whitmore's going to get his opportunity to start at some point, whether or another. Like, it could be a game where they feel like they have an opportunity to get what they want offensively because he'd be best suited for that game. They want to attack the basket, drive, and kick. Whitmore's gotten a lot better at the drive and kick as the season's gone on. I know at times it seems like when he puts the head down, there's no way that ball is not going up toward the rim, but I've seen times where when he drives to the bucket, the defense breaks down, he finds an open shooter on the outside. He's getting better at that. He's growing into that role.
Yeah, no, 100%, Ben. And I think that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for the comments. 45 people in here. Make sure you are liking, commenting, and subscribing to Locked On Wizards. Third win of the season, Ben. I mean, what's our trajectory right now? Projection for our record?
I don't know. I'm living in the moment right now. A good win for this Wizards team. They come from behind, down by as much as 16. They take it tonight, 129-126. 3-16. The Wizards are back in action tomorrow in Philadelphia at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll have the post-game coverage for you, as always, here on the Locked On Wizards podcast. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. If you're an everydayer, comment in the stream, comment on the video. Let us know that you watch the channel every day. Even though we know most of you guys, we want to see it come through. If you don't comment, let us know that you're watching the channel every day. For my co-host, Abdullah Ayubi, I'm Ben Strober, DC family. Talk to you tomorrow.